Hey guys, this is Danny Boy. It's been a while. I am back. I took a week or two off. I am still playing SWTOR, but I've re-rolled a bunch of times, and I don't have gameplay ready to show you for that game quite yet. I have some older, lower-level stuff, but I'll probably post that later. So here you see I am playing the Diablo 3 beta. I was not actually going to create videos for this, as a ton of people have already. I decided to, once beta patch 13 came out and some significant changes to the game were made, this gameplay specifically showcases the Witchdoctor, just going through the game as normal, though I do skip all the dialogues, and I'm rushing through it pretty much as fast as I can go for the most part, though I do make the mistake of not upgrading my weapon as quickly as I should have. I did not think of it. Oh well. That makes things take a bit longer than they should have. Actually, quite a bit longer than they should have. But that's neither here nor there. So, yes, this last beta update significantly changed the game. This whole UI you see here is brand new. This is actually, you're seeing my first impressions of it. I had not seen it before, so I'm shuffling through it, seeing how it differed from the old one. Not significantly, but it is a bit more polished, a bit... I would say it's better. Not a huge difference, but it's better. The order in which you get skills has changed quite a bit, actually. Grasp of the Dead was a much later skill, though you still got it in the last iteration of beta, but certainly not at level 2. Right now I'm equipped with Blow Dart, which is just a simple poison dot or damage over time. You'll notice once we actually get to some mobs, and you saw already that I do not spam it. I shoot it, wait a couple seconds. Actually, at the time I think I was trying to wait 3 seconds. It's actually over 2 seconds. And then I shoot another person, or I shoot the same person again. The dot doesn't actually stack with itself. It resets the duration, so there's no point of spamming it. As you see there, I'm picking different targets and spreading it around, and then using Grasp of the Dead as a snare, though it does do some fairly decent damage as well. Grasp of the Dead is a targeted ground AoE that, as I said, snares and does damage. I will get the rune later to make it do more damage. One of the, by far, most significant changes of this version of beta, and in my opinion, a huge step forward for the game, is the fact that you now unlock runes as you level as a standard part of the skill system. You no longer have to find runes. Runes were originally not even going to be in the beta. Jay Wilson explicitly stated that they would not be in the beta. All of the videos of runes you've seen thus far are from Blizzard itself, and much more so through different fan sites and database sites and what have you, using emulators to and data mining to pull the runes out, and then spawning mods using developer commands, or rather spawning mobs to kill using developer commands, and then using the runes. But now they unlock normally just as you level. Definitely a very nice change. As it was, you would level up to level 30 or so. You would get your last skill just before 30, and you would get your last passive at 30, and you get 3 passives, by the way. After that, you get nothing. There's nothing to look forward to, or was nothing to look forward to post 30, but loot, which was most unfortunate. 30 dead levels of nothing. No stats. You're not, in this game, unlike Diablo 2, you do not actually put points in your skills. You simply unlock them and they scale as you level. Another part of Blizzard's grand desire to make the game as simple and player-friendly and user-friendly and derp as possible, as derp-friendly as possible. So, but again, that is no longer the case. You now unlock runes as you go. From what I saw, you're unlocking runes all the way past level 50. Level cap is 60, by the way. I just ding-a-linged. So yes, definitely a huge change. Huge decision by Blizzard. The fact that runes will no longer be part of the game's in-game economy, the market, they won't be on the real money auction house, is definitely a huge financial decision for Blizzard, as those would have easily been some of the most valuable items in the game, or certainly some of the most desired items in the game. But And I think a lot of you out there will agree, it's one thing to pay for loot, it's another thing entirely to pay for simple upgrades to your skills that significantly change how a character plays. Definitely not fun to play a character hoping for your rune to drop that you particularly want to try out, or waiting to be able to afford it on the auction house and not being able to get it. At least that's my view. So that is, again, no longer an issue. Another huge change to the game with this patch is the fact that, again, speaking of the real money auction house, there is no longer a listing fee for the real money auction house. If you have seen my SWTOR video entitled something along the lines of Blizzard rant or Diablo 3 rant or what have you, I spoke for a bit, probably too long, about my thoughts on the real money auction house, though I didn't get into too much detail, and one of my biggest complaints was the sheer fact that there is a listing fee and you can lose money by failing to sell an item. Again, that is no longer the case, and again, that is a huge financial decision for Blizzard. I guarantee you they have been mulling over this idea for months, certainly since the last delay, certainly since the auction house was not able to pass the game ratings board in South Korea. Because, quite simply, they would make... The real money auction house is this game's subscription model. It is how Blizzard intends to make money over the long term with this game. They will make a significant amount of money, certainly enough to profit simply from box sales, but the cash cow of this game is the real money auction house. And the idea is that the funding of that, beyond making them ridiculously wealthy, not that they aren't already ridiculously wealthy, it will allow them to have the funding to provide much more frequent content updates and better support for the game. So think MMO level support, constant patches, significant content upgrades for this game because of the real money auction house. At least that is the idea. It has been said in the past, we have been told that the other options was a subscription model or something else along those lines. This is what they chose. So again, they would be making very much money from failed auctions. They would be making the majority of their money from failed auctions. Far more auctions fail than succeed, obviously. So the fact that there are no longer listing fees is just a huge decision for them, and probably a very difficult decision for them. I feel that they made it for several reasons. One very obvious one is the fact that... okay, and again, I've compared this in my previous video, I believe. With the listing fee, the real money auction house is essentially a glorified casino. You can lose money. I mean, the entire game is based upon the random chance of finding items. The thing is, it's not totally random chance. Blizzard obviously can set which items drop at which rates. You know, there's no such thing as... and here, my game crashed, actually, unfortunately. If you Alt-Tab while playing the game right now, and try to get back in, at least for me, you get an error, and it crashes. So that's what that little lag spike was. So anyway, basically, there's no such thing as random in video games. RNG, random number generators, they're not truly random because you can't demonstrate truly random mathematically. There's no formula that can actually emulate a truly random system like the weather, for example. So yes, it's random, but it's not. They can stack the odds however they want, determine how frequent which items are found in the economy and which items are valuable and whatever. So there's that. Once you have the auction house thrown into the mix, it's just especially with the listing fee, you have random items coupled with an auction house that allows you to lose real money from your postings if the auctions fail, and so on and so on and so on. It's just essentially a glorified casino, with Blizzard being the house and the players being the gamblers. And that's one of the big reasons why the auction house, as it was, didn't pass the game ratings board in South Korea, because it was illegal under their laws. I mean, honestly, that's what it came down to. It was illegal under their laws, with that sort of risk involved for the player base. So I think that's one reason. I'm thinking that now that this has been eliminated, this listing fee, Blizzard's going to try to get the auction house put back into place for the South Koreans, and for real currency rather than Blizzard bucks, which I believe is what they have to do right now. They have to use essentially play money that only allows you to buy stuff from the Blizzard store and what have you. And South Korea is an absolutely gigantic market for them, so I'm sure that was quite the factor in this decision. Beyond that, they probably wanted to avoid litigation down the road. Once a consumer protection group, lobby group, whatever, realizes what's going on here, Blizzard absolutely is going to wind up going to the courts for this. Or they would have. Again, it's not an issue anymore. This is all hypothetical at this point. But if it had gone live as it was, it would have eventually gone to the courts. I would bet money, not that I'm a betting man, on that. So that completely ameliorates that. Beyond that, they probably just thought that players, would use the auction house less because of that, were going to be alienated because of that, would have given them a lot of bad publicity. They're already getting a lot of bad publicity because of the whole auction house thing from a lot of different game websites. And they just didn't want that. They probably figure in the long run they'll make more money without it than they will with it, honestly. I mean, there really isn't a lot that they would factor into a decision like this beyond that. How will they make the most money? That's really what they're concerned with. Not to say that Blizzard, that their employees don't care about the quality of their games and don't care about their player base. That's not true. However, most of the people that do care about their player base and their games and what have you are not the highest level management in the company. The people that are actually running the company absolutely care about the money, just like any major corporation. So yeah, definitely a huge deal, something I'm very happy to see. They did... so they're no longer triple dipping from their auctions. They have 2 fees and then a listing fee. Now it's just the 2 fees. They did, I think, double or triple one of the fees to help compensate for this, but they would have had to easily quadruple, quintuple, septuple, I mean, on and on, to actually make the amount of money they would have made from the failed auctions with the listing fees. So that's all definitely very well and good. Those are the 2 largest changes with this beta build, beyond just little stuff like the UI change. I believe they implemented a advanced tooltips toggle, so it can be on all the time with this build, which is very nice. I do not know if you know, but Blizzard is again trying to make this game mind-numbingly accessible to the absolute least of least common denominators. We're talking, people that can't. Illiterate people, I think, pretty much at this point. It's honestly terrible how simplified they're making the game. If you look at tooltips now, if you don't have the toggle on, it just says something along the lines of, this thing shoots green goo at enemies and does damage. Once you turn on the advanced tooltips, or you hold down control while hovering over it, you'll see something along the lines of, it does 150% weapon damage, or what have you. So that toggle's now in effect, which is very nice. They added in a incredibly idiotic elective toggle now. Apparently, by default, the game doesn't let you determine which abilities are bound to, or on which part of the UI, and you can't freely... again, if you look at the UI, it's divided in like primary button, secondary button, and then defensive, and then 3 other tiers that are just like voodoo, decay, spirit, or something like that. And that's just the trees, the overarching type of abilities for the Witchdoctor. By default, you can't put a defensive skill in your secondary, your right mouse button. You can't put a voodoo skill in your left mouse button. You have to do primary in primary, secondary in secondary, defensive in defensive. So you can't freely customize how your abilities are situated. But once you turn on the elective toggle, you can. And the fact that the elective toggle is toggled off by default just makes me incredibly sad, because it implies that people that play these games, or that they're looking to play their games, are incredibly stupid. I'll continue this in the next video. This goes into a part 2, if not a part 3. So I will be back in a sec. But if I have a message to Blizzard, it's please stop trying to attract more players to your games, and please start catering to the players that already play your games. You have a player base in the millions. Seriously, you have enough players. Stop being a dick. Alright, thanks guys for watching. Have a good one.